So everyone knows about Bitcoin. It's the cryptocurrency that's worth 40,000 one day, 60,000 the next, and then 20,000 the day after that. Now that volatility is sometimes a very cool feature, but it can also be a bug. For example, this cup of coffee might have cost me this much Bitcoin, and it was worth every decimal point. But Bitcoin's volatility can make everyday purchases hard to budget for, especially with the amount of coffee that I drink. So despite Bitcoin's very real value, it may not be the best choice for an everyday currency. And that is where stablecoins come in. Stablecoins take the same underlying blockchain technology as Bitcoin, but apply it to coins that are pegged to the value of a traditional currency, like the US dollar, the euro, or our very own Aussie dollary-doos. Now, stablecoins have all the underlying benefits of blockchain technology, but without that one big downside: volatility. Now, of course, they're still on a blockchain, so you can do interesting things with them, like send them to anyone in the world at any time, use them with Web3 apps and DeFi, and of course, trade them for other cryptocurrencies, or use them to earn yield. And that's all without the need for a bank account. But as cool as they are, not all stablecoins are created equal. Before we dive in, a quick thank you to the sponsor of this video, Coinbase. It's one of the world's leading crypto exchanges, and it's now launched in Australia. Coinbase is currently offering 1% annual percentage yield rewards on its USDC stablecoin. Plus, pay zero commission when you buy USD Coin with AUD or Tether. So let's start with fiat-backed stablecoins, where the value is pegged to the value of a traditional currency like the US dollar. These are the most popular type, but stablecoins do come in many forms. Some are backed by real-world assets like dollars in the bank and government bonds, while others are more experimental and are made up of a basket of other assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum. And there are even a few mind-bending types that attempt to maintain their value by minting another cryptocurrency and then periodically destroying it to maintain its value. It sounds like a real moonshot. It'd only work once in a blue moon, but it might come crashing down to Earth. I'm talking about Luna. Before you throw your money at the first stablecoin that walks in the room, let's take a look at how the most popular ones actually work, what they're backed by, and where any potential weaknesses lie. The first two to get familiar with are USDT and USDC. And nearly $100 billion worth of these coins are in circulation, and they make up about 2/3 of the total stablecoin market. So yeah, they're kind of a big deal. A USDT, also known as Tether, was launched in 2014 and brought the concept of stablecoins to the world. It first operated on a layer of Bitcoin called Omni, but has since been adopted to more than 10 different blockchains, including Ethereum, Tron, and Avalanche. Tether originally claimed that it was dollar-backed, meaning that for every USDT token minted, there was a corresponding dollar in a bank. However, Tether has always struggled to prove this, and for years it has been dogged by accusations and suspicions that its books didn't actually add up. Joel, when you're editing this, can you chuck in the meme of The Rock where he raises an eyebrow? It's all like, you know that one? Yeah, sweet, thanks man. So recently, Tether changed the language on its website to instead say that assets are backed by traditional currency and cash equivalents, and may include other assets and receivables from loans made by Tether to third parties. Its website now has a neat breakdown of just what that mix of assets looks like, with its December 2022 figures looking like this. Now, if you look closely, you'll see that the majority of assets are held in US Treasury bonds, while less than 10% are in actual cash. The remainder is a mix of loans, corporate bonds, precious metals, and investments, which include some volatile assets like crypto. So, suffice to say that Tether has moved a long way from its original claim of being a cash-backed stablecoin. But what about USDC then? How does it compare? Well, first, you should know that it's newer. USDC was launched in 2018 by the Center Consortium, which is made up of Circle and Coinbase, the latter of which is the sponsor of this video. USDC has grown rapidly over the past 2 years thanks to its commitment to transparency and stability. A USD coin is only backed by US dollars and US Treasury bonds, which ensures that it can be redeemed one-to-one for US dollars at all times. The funds are custodied by leading US financial institutions, including BlackRock and BNY Mellon, two of the biggest names in global finance. USDC reserves are verified monthly with attestation reports from third-party auditors, and Circle, the issuer of USDC, is a licensed money transmitter in the US. This puts it in the same league as PayPal, Stripe, and Apple Pay. Given all the uncertainty around Tether, the market was desperate for an alternative, which USDC appears to have provided. This chart from Glassnode highlights the shift in market sentiment. That's Tether in the green, which has steadily been losing share over the past 2 years, while USDC in the blue has been steadily rising. Reasons for this might also be attributed to USDC's association with Coinbase, which co-founded the Center Consortium to invest in the development of USDC. For instance, Coinbase users earn 1% APY just for holding USDC on the platform. And it doesn't require you to lock up your funds in a term deposit either. The cool thing about this yield is it comes directly from Coinbase's own pockets. That means there's no lending involved. There's no risky DeFi strategies or any of the other nonsense that's been associated with crypto markets lately. Just good old-fashioned marketing spend to bring users to the platform and then reward them for staying. To help bring users across, Coinbase is also waiving commission fees when users buy or sell USDC with fiat, and that includes Aussie dollars, and you can also swap your USDT for USDC at no extra charge. The next stablecoin you need to know about is DAI, D-A-I. It's a true OG in every sense of the word. It was launched back in 2017 by the MakerDAO and runs on the Ethereum blockchain. DAI is a decentralized stablecoin, which means it's minted and collateralized by users instead of a central authority or business. Anyone can mint DAI by depositing cryptocurrencies into a smart contract on Ethereum. These assets are then used as collateral to support the DAI's one-to-one peg with the US dollar. The important thing to understand here is that users must deposit a greater amount of collateral than the amount of DAI that they wish to withdraw. That means that the assets that back DAI are over-collateralized. Here's how that looks. The column on the left shows the assets that make up the DAI treasury in June 2022. It's mainly made up of stablecoins like USDC, as well as volatile assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, to protect against the volatility of the last two, the amount of DAI that can be issued is 20% less than the value of the treasury. And if those assets do drop too far in value, they'll be sold off to protect the treasury and ensure that DAI maintains a one-to-one backing. So this makes DAI both an asset-backed stablecoin, like Tether and USDC, as well as an algorithmic stablecoin. Now, if these two approaches were on a spectrum, DAI would sort of lie somewhere in the middle. At the extreme end of that spectrum is the fully algorithmic stablecoins. Joel, when you're editing, can you add another rock meme, but the one where he has like the Matrix sunglasses and he goes, huh? Thanks. These are much more experimental in nature, and they attempt to maintain parity to the dollar in a number of ways. Most of them have taken the model introduced by DAI and tried to iterate. One of the most notorious sort of quote-unquote algo stables to do so was Terra USD, UST. Despite the collapse of UST and Luna, several algorithmic stablecoins still exist today, although some shifted to including collateralized treasuries, which makes them much more like DAI. We're gonna hammer this one in. Not all stablecoins are created equal. Not all stablecoins are created equal. Hopefully that point is super clear. Who issues them and what assets they're backed with are massively important components to consider. Remember that Luna's UST was promising 20% annual yield for holders, which is why so many people rushed in without doing their due diligence. Instead, make sure you do yours and pick the stablecoin that makes sense for your investment strategy. As for the future of stablecoins, well, honestly, it's looking pretty big. There are several governments, including Australia, the UK, and even the US, that are exploring national stablecoins. These are referred to as central bank digital currencies, and they'd essentially be a digital dollar. And then you've got heavyweights in the banking industry like JP Morgan and ANZ Bank that have already launched their own stablecoins for internal use. So if you thought stablecoins were squarely for the crypto nerds, you're wrong. A big thank you to you for watching this video, and thanks to Coinbase, the sponsor of this video. If you'd like to learn more about the future of finance, please like and subscribe to Crypto Finder on YouTube and leave a comment below. I'd love to hear what you want to hear about, and maybe what your favorite stablecoin is and why you think it's the future. That's all from me. Thanks for watching. Man, I'm so excited for those rock memes. Yes.